What's up, guys? It's the Arsenal Pulse, and we are here to just have a quick session 1 to 3 on the transfer news regarding Arsenal Football Club, as the World Cup is 2 days before starting. Just signing so that I can see the chat. Hope you're doing well. A big summer transfer window is coming up. We need to ensure that the club go big, since now the money is available. Try and log into the chat so that I can see the comments, the comment section. Big up yourself to everyone, single one of you who is here. As you all know, June is mental health month, so ensure to check up on your friends, on your family, on your loved ones, to ensure that you are all okay. Make sure you like the video, subscribe, and share this content, because now we want to look at some of the transfer rumors regarding Arsenal. So just checking whether I went live. Check whether I went live or not. Yeah, big up in the chat. Salute to all of you, Arsenal Pulse community. We are growing, road to 200 subscribers. We are currently at 147 subscribers. Yeah, we are at 147 subscribers, so we are doing well currently, and I'm sure during the World Cup we shall see more and more rumors regarding Arsenal. People, Arsenal now are currently, we have 15 players who are on international duty, so we need to ensure that this summer we may get the right moves. 764, 721, 764, 721. Yeah, if you're in the chat, you can tell me, can you hear me clearly, or am I not audible? Yeah, let me log into the chat. Yeah, so big up yourself. Big up yourselves, every single one of you Arsenal supporters. So the chat is not loading for now. Ensure to like the video, ensure to subscribe, because we want to look at some of the transfer news regarding Arsenal today. And it's going to be a crucial summer. I'm hearing that Andrea Bata has been given a war chest of 300 million pounds. 300 million pounds to go and buy players in the summer, since, as I told you in the other video, the total earnings for Arsenal might exceed 800 million pounds, yeah, which is a lot of money. So I was certain that this summer Arsenal are going to go big on players, the likes of Morgan Rogers, Junior Krupi, and then there are also other players who are in the World Cup that are going to be available. So for me, the most important part of the window is to try and recruit left winger, a right back, a another midfielder, another striker, and possibly another defender. So this summer is not going to be about quality or quantity. It's going to be about quality, the quality of players that we bring in. Because now there are some players who are coming to the end of their there are some players who are coming to the end of their contracts and also their prime at Arsenal. So we need to move on such kind of players. Yeah. So the World Cup is 2 days to go, and you can see on June 11th, the first game will be between Mexico and South Africa in Mexico. So the World Cup has 3 hosts: Canada, United States, and also Mexico. Yeah, so plenty of games will be played, and Mexico, who will be co-hosts, they qualified for the qualified for the World Cup as co-hosts. Yeah. So I'm not seeing the chat. I don't know what's happened to the chat. Okay. All right. Now the chat is there. If you can see me, just say if I'm audible on the chat. Yeah. So big up yourselves, everybody who's watching live from Nairobi, Kenya. So plenty of exciting matches that are coming up. Mexico versus South Africa, Korea Republic versus Sech. Then you have Canada, Bosnia, USA, Brazil versus Morocco, one to look out for. We have Netherlands, Japan, Sweden versus Tunisia. So plenty of games because these are the group stages. Yeah. So plenty of our players will be at the World Cup. So let's look at the guide for the FIFA World Cup. Some of our teammates will actually be facing each other in this tournament. So as I said, we have 15 players who have gone to North America. It was 16, but because of the injury to Julian Timber for the Netherlands. Actually, that is breaking news that Julian Timber is out of the World Cup after he did not recover his groin. He had a groin injury which has not yet recovered, so he'll be out for the World Cup. So we'll be having 15 players at the World Cup, meaning that's a good number. Man City are the ones who have the highest number with the 14. They have 14 players. So you can see in Group I, we'll have Arsenal and Norway captain Odegaard will be facing William Saliba's France. So that will be an interesting matchup. Then we'll have Hincapié who will be playing against Kai Havertz, Germany. Yeah, so they'll be facing each other, the Gunners, and also there'll be former Gunners, the likes of Tierney, the likes of Xhaka. Yeah, Sead Kolasinac, who used to play left back, will also be playing with Bosnia. Bosnia are the team who they dumped out Italy. Yeah, so Italy should have been the ones in the World Cup, but they are missing the 3rd consecutive tournament, Italy. And then there's Granit Xhaka in Group B, and Qatar will be also in Group B. Then there's Victor Gyökeres, who is in Group F, and Takehiro Tomiyasu, who plays for Ajax. Tomiyasu was a good player, but because of injuries and fitness, he did not be able to play many games for Arsenal. Tierney also, who was a former Ghana, will be playing for Scotland alongside Gabriel Martinelli and Gabriel Magalhães, Brazil, in Group C. So Gabriel Jesus was not called up because of his fitness issues. And then Hincapié's Ecuador and Havertz, Germany, also will face Nicolas Pepe. Nicolas Pepe now is 31 years old, so time has really moved. Emi Martinez will be playing against Argentina. So there are plenty of exciting matchups in the tournament, which will start on 11th June and it will end on 19th July. Yeah, so plenty of talking points and also plenty of roundup. So you can see Saliba started in the game versus France as Timber pulls out. So fortunate for Timber because now he'll miss and he'll be going for surgery. I believe he'll be going for surgery. Big up yourselves if you are in the chat. You can just tell me if I'm audible or if you're struggling to hear me. Just tell me or ping me in the chat. I'll just adjust my audio. Anyway, William Saliba participated in a friendly with France yesterday with a 3-1 victory over Northern Ireland. So most of these clubs, they are finalizing their preparations by warm-ups, trying new tactics as well. And France are one of the favorites as they reached the 2022. They reached the final, so they are going to be favorites as well. Michael Olise stole the show with a 3-1 win over in Northern France. So Michael Olise, one to watch, will actually was shining, and then Saliba played only in the first half, then was replaced by Lacroix in the second half. So France have a very good squad in the attacking areas, in their quality in midfield as well, and also in the defense. So France are one of the favorites, together with Argentina, Portugal, England. All these European teams usually are very strong when it comes to the World Cup. Then there's this news of Timber pulling out, a huge blow to the Netherlands and Arsenal as well, because we now don't know how long he'll be out for, because he featured in the Champions League Final in the last 20 minutes of the game. So we are expecting Timber to be fit for the start of next season, meaning he'll be out. I hear you. Oh, thank you, bro. Thank you. Appreciate you in the chat. Yeah. So Timber will miss this game, and the Netherlands are going to suffer a huge blow because he's a very important player even for Arsenal, and I believe if he could have started in the Champions League final, he could have won it for us. Yeah. So this is bad news for the Netherlands. So it means they're going to call up Getruida, who was on loan at Sunderland. Yeah. So Timber will be assessed and will need to look at possible replacements. And for Spain, we have Mikel Merino and Zubimendi, who are second half substitutes, as Spain beat Peru 3-1 in Mexico. So Spain have a very good squad. We have three players who are playing for Spain: Merino, Raya, and Zubamendi. Yeah, so these are three players who will be looking to win the World Cup with Spain after they won the Premier League with Arsenal. And I believe Raya, there was breaking news that Raya is going to be the first choice keeper for Spain. Yeah, because it has always been Unai Simon, from Athletic Bilbao, usually is the number one for Spain. But Raya is expected to be the number one after winning the Golden Glove for 3 seasons in a row. Yeah, so it will be interesting to see how these players perform, and also they have played a lot of minutes during the season. Competing in 4 tournaments is not easy. So so that they can avoid such kind of injuries to the likes of Timber as well. Ben White also was missing. Ben White got injured before even the Champions League final. So interesting to see how many players will actually play for Arsenal. How their minutes are going to be managed as well. So today I want to look at some of the transfer news, and as you all know, Arsenal are gearing up for a big summer of spending. Over £300 million has been allocated to Arteta after bagging almost close to 800 million pounds. And the first player I want us to look at is Sandro Tonali. So Sandro Tonali from Newcastle. Yeah, so he's a midfielder, attacking midfielder, can play also on the defensive midfielder. And Newcastle are looking at selling him for 100 million pounds. Yeah, 100 million pounds. There's a hefty price tag. And in the chat, you can tell me, do you believe that is a fair price for Sandro Tonali, or he has not done enough to be, has he done enough to be 100 million pounds player? Yeah, so you're saying GK2846, big up yourself. That means he isn't for sale. Yeah, so such a price tag is usually telling other clubs to keep off our player, or else if you want to take him, you'll have to break the bank. Like when we signed Declan Rice, West Ham did not want to sell him, but because Arsenal made a huge offer that West Ham could not resist, so that's why we bought Declan Rice. So you put money on the table. But for Tonali, I don't think he's 100 million pounds player. So you're saying he's irreplaceable. Yeah, it will be a big loss for Newcastle, especially if you look at they sold Isak last summer for 120 million. Now this season maybe they sell Livramento, they sell Bruno Guimaraes, and then they sell Tonali. So it's going to be a regression for Newcastle, who are also looking to get back into the Champions League, because last season Newcastle played in the Champions League. But for me, I like the qualities of Tonali. I like how he is combative in midfield. He has an engine, very good passing as well. And I believe he's someone who can elevate our midfield. But for me, if I'm going to spend 100 million pounds, I'm actually going for Bruno Guimaraes. Bruno Guimaraes might be worth 100 million because first of all, he's the leader at Newcastle. He's one of their best players at Newcastle, Bruno Guimaraes. But you can see this is going to be a war, since also Manchester United and Manchester City are in talks with Newcastle for Tonali. And for me, I can see him going to Manchester United, because with the departure of Casemiro, that is going to be a huge hole in midfield. And also for Manchester City, they need to replace Bernardo Silva. And you know, Bernardo Silva was such an important player for Manchester City. The way he dribbles, the way he was a leader, the IQ, football IQ. So Manchester City and United, I believe Tonali will go to either one of those clubs. Either you can tell me in the chat, what do you think? Where do you think Tonali will go, and how much do you think Tonali is worth in this current market? Yeah. But what the advantage that Arsenal have now is that the fact that we are champions, will be able to negotiate easily with players, because players want to play for teams that win trophies. So that will be a huge selling point to any player. Yeah, I don't see Tonali as an immediate upgrade on anyone. Oh, so you don't think Tonali might improve our midfield? Do you believe he's better than Zubamendi? Yeah. There's players I want, but they aren't household names anyone knows. Okay, so could you give me an example of a player who would like to see at Arsenal that is nobody knows of? Like for me, the signing of Jeremy Monga, I did not know him. So Jeremy Monga here is a very potentially talented 16-year-old from Leicester City. Yeah, so Monga, I believe Monga is on Arsenal's radar. personal terms have already been agreed. And also there is Cancel Mbemba from PSG, the under 18s captain. So it looks like Arsenal are actually building for the future. Yeah? Arsenal want to build for the future by bringing in young players. So there is Jan Stilkas, a creative midfielder at Genk. Okay, so I also didn't know about him, but I believe he's a very good prospect. Like the way Odegaard was a wonder kid at in Norway. Yeah. So Jan Stilkas, creative midfielder. Let me actually look up his stats. Jan Stilkas. Ghent. Is it Ghent or Genk? Right wing Ichem Ferrer or Genk. Yeah, let me check. Jan Stilkas. Okay. So he was born in 2002, Belgian professional footballer who plays for Racing Genk. Nice. So he looks like a potentially good player. But I don't think Arsenal are looking at him currently. And then there is the right wing, Ichem Ferrer. Ichem Ferrer. Hey bro, are you a scout or what? I've never heard of such names. Ichem Ferrer, right. I don't know if he's not from Genk. Ichem Ferrer, okay. The right wing footballer. Yeah, so he plays for Edebeze Kambu. Okay. So let's check his value on transfer market. I usually like to check players on transfer market. £2 million, I believe. Yeah. So he's a France player, 20 years of age, right wing, and he's costing €2 million. Yeah. So these are kind of players, when you watch them, they are very good on the eye, I believe. Yeah. He's a right wing. Also, he can play in attacking midfielder. And I've noticed something with Arteta. When Arteta is signing players, he usually goes for players who can do two roles. Either they can play 10 or 6, they can play in the wing or 10, they can play in the 10, 11. So I believe a player like this, Ichem Ferrer, Arteta might be looking at him as he can play two roles as well, in the center and also in the right wing. Because I don't believe Madueke, Arsenal fans are still not convinced by Noni Madueke. Yeah, Noni Madueke is still yet to prove himself as the backup for Saka. Yeah, versatility. True. So you also need to have versatility in when you are signing these players because of injuries and squad depth. It also gives you options of playing different systems. Because I remember there was a time Arteta tried to play Saka as a 10. Yeah, and it worked in the game. I think it was a game versus Portugal, where Saka played in the 10 and he had a very good game. So Saka has played left back, Saka has played in the left wing, right wing. Yeah, so a player like Ichem Ferrer, he can come in and do wonders. Let me try and see if he's on TikTok. Ichem Ferrer. Yeah, so these are players where if you don't want to splash huge amounts of money, these are players that you can go for. Yeah. Talented right winger. Yeah. So this is a player who likes to take on players and also he has the skills. He's a fancy skill player. Yeah, I remember the game Saka at 10. Yeah, do you remember that game? And he really played well, but Arteta did not experiment with it again. Yeah, because Saka is usually at his best on the right. But you can see, yeah, he's a good player. If you look at the finishing, you can cut in, and that's the kind of right wing I usually like. A winger who can cut in and actually shoot from far. Let's check out the highlights. These are players who are really, really gems. If you can unearth a player like this, Riyad Mahrez, yeah, nice, nice. 12 goals and 6 assists by Ferrer. Yeah, these are the kind of gems that we need to be unearthing. Yeah, because now the transfer market is crazy. If you are spending £100 million on Tonali or Elliot Anderson, players are very expensive. So you need to be smart in the transfer market. Don't just go and spend money because for the sake of it. Because you need to have a strategy as well of bringing up young players into the team. Okay. Then the way he plays, he has a skill set. Yeah. He's like a Riyad Mahrez type of player. Yeah. Yeah. I can see he has huge potential. Look at that pass. So the vision is excellent. He can score, he can cut in and shoot. And that's the kind of player that we need. The other one was Jan Stelkers. Jan Stelkers. Is he a striker or a midfielder? Jan Stelkers. Jan Stelkers. Genk. Yeah. I believe he's a Netherlands, he's a Belgian international, right? Jan Genkers. Okay, maybe I'm not able to find him. That is a big prospect. Yeah, in the Belgian Pro League. He's a creative player who can play the 10. Because I believe it's time to let Mesut, Odegaard, Norway captain Odegaard. It's time for him to depart from Arsenal. Stelkers this season, 6 assists. Last season he was better, 8 goals, 8 assists. He just plays on the wing, bro. He is not like Ferrer, so he's like a number 10, I believe. Yeah, and also he's a passer. Okay, so he's a very good passer of the ball. Can play the 10, very creative, and that is one of the areas that we also need to look at. A player who is creative, because most of the goals we have been scoring have been from set pieces. So we also need to find a solution, yeah, to counter what next season teams next season will be preparing for us. So let me look also at Mbemba. There's this prospect, Mbemba at PSG, a left center back who Arsenal are close to signing. Mbemba, yeah, Mbemba, PSG. He's a left center back who is highly rated in League One. He's highly rated in League One. And Arsenal, I believe, have already agreed personal terms with him. They believe he can be the next Nuno Mendes of PSG. Yeah, that's what he's saying, bro. There's one more I like, another creative player. Yeah, you can share it on the chat with that player so that we can look at him. So also this member from PSG is the captain of the PSG under 21s. I believe he'll be out of contract in the summer. So Arsenal are already looking, and you can see the strategy for this summer window is to go for young players, building for the future, and then adding more quality in the attacking areas, because I believe we have the best defense in Europe. So we just need to build an attack that is capable of winning the Champions League. Yeah. So that's what I believe we should be looking at now, improving and upgrading that attack. So Chancel Mbemba, I wouldn't mind him as a young player if he's a gem. And also left centre backs nowadays are not easy to find. They help with the balance of the team, and they help progress the ball into midfield. Yeah. So you can tell me the kind of player that you want, who is a creative player. And also he looks is very good on the ball. So we need to look at players who are actually very good on the ball, because now the football has evolved. You play from the back. Yeah. So we need a defender who is comfortable on the ball, who can progress the ball into midfield or into the wing areas in the attacking channels as well. Big up yourselves in the chat. Make sure you like the video so that we can get more and more followers as well. So another player I was thinking about was Jeremy Monga. I don't know if you've heard about Jeremy Monga from Leicester City. I believe that Leicester are willing to sell since they have been relegated to League One. Jeremy Monga is one to look out for. Very talented dribbler, can play on the left wing, and then it's rare to see someone who can play on the left wing like a Leroy Sané. He has that Leroy Sané type of ability to play on the right and also on the left. And that's this very good profile. Yeah, it's a good profile to have in the team. Somebody who can play on the left with their stronger foot being the left foot. So Jeremy Monga is one to watch. I believe Arsenal have agreed personal terms with him. And then there were these two brothers. I don't know if you have heard of them, the Quintero twins. Yeah, Arsenal had already signed them, but they have not featured yet for the first team. I believe they're in the academy still. Yeah. So let me look at the Quintero twins. The Quintero twins. Quintero. They are from Ecuador, I believe. Quintero twins. Arsenal. So you can see that this is the strategy for Arsenal to go for young players who are in their prime, one for the future. Because if you look at the current transfer window, players are extremely expensive. So Quintero brothers, one is a right winger, and they look very techy and very skillful. So players like this, usually they become a gem. If you can unearth such talent, these are players who can become superstars in future. So credit to the Arsenal sporting director for spotting such talents. So we need this kind of players who can take men on. And I'd like to know, would you like to see us selling Martinelli? Because there are some fans who are saying Martinelli's time at Arsenal is up. After 7 years, it's now to move him on and look for a proper left winger. So you can tell me in the chat. Big up yourselves in the chat. Appreciate every one of you who is live as we look at these transfer targets. So that's another player. These are two players that we should look out for, the Quintero brothers, and therefore already signed for Arsenal. Let's check some of their highlights. Ecuadorian players, very skillful players on the wing. They also look very pacey and very talented. So I wouldn't mind having such kind of players in our team. Yeah, bro. It's hard to say on Saka. Yeah. So Saka also, we need to find someone who can compete with Saka for that spot. Yeah. Because of also Saka's had his injury issues. He has not been the same level that we are used to seeing Saka on a weekly basis. So having a player who can come in on the right wing and ease the burden of Saka, because Madueke, for me, Madueke is still not it. Madueke has a lot of end product. He has to work on his end product. You cannot be a winger in the Premier League and you are scoring 3 goals and 1 assist. Yeah. But he has scored crucially in the FA Cup, in the Carabao Cup. Madueke is a good option for such tournaments. Yeah. But that's why I would want Ichem. Yeah. If you can get a player like Ichem Ferra with the kind of skills of these Quintero brothers, these Quintero brothers can also upgrade that left wing side. So regarding the Spain internationals, Zubamendi will be there, Merino, and also Raya. And I believe Incape also will be part of the squad for Ecuador, because I remember he was playing the Champions League final with an injury in the last few minutes. Incape was unable even to walk, but because there was no substitutions, we could not sub him off. So I believe that Incape also will be part of the team to face in the World Cup. So I've heard that Real Madrid have rejected, Atletico Madrid have rejected a bid for Julian Alvarez. So would you take Julian Alvarez at Arsenal? Because for me, I believe Atletico Madrid, they don't want to sell him. If they've rejected 150 million euros for Alvarez, so it seems Atletico Madrid are staying firm. They are not going to let him leave. Maybe 200 million or so for Julian Alvarez, which is crazy actually. But he's a very good player, 26 years old, has already won everything, including the World Cup. He has won the World Cup, he has won the Champions League, he has won the Premier League. I think this is it is his first trophy-less season with Atletico Madrid, because Atletico Madrid have not won anything yet. So, but for me, I would like Julian Alvarez at Arsenal, because he'll upgrade that attack to the level that we need. And also he's an international, Argentina international. Atletico Madrid. Julian Alvarez will have to break the bank for him. But he's a very fantastic goal scorer. I was even wondering why did Manchester City let him go. Yeah, I wanted him while he was at City. Maybe too late now. Yeah, now we have to break the bank in order to attract Julian Alvarez. And he might want to leave, but Atletico Madrid will reject the offer. And also, I believe those players in Spain usually have release clauses in their contracts. So if you want to buy Alvarez, maybe you need to break the release clause, which you can find is maybe 200 million, 100 million, in order to take him away from Atletico Madrid. But plenty of clubs will be looking at him, the likes of PSG, Real Madrid, Barcelona. There was also an offer that was rejected from Barcelona, because Barcelona, they want to replace Lewandowski. Lewandowski has left Barcelona, so Julian Alvarez was being looked at as a replacement for Lewandowski. But that news by Real Madrid today has surprised me, because Fiorentino Perez was actually saying if he wins the election, he will bid 150 million for a player, and everyone was thinking it was Olise, somebody like Olise, but it turns out that it has been Julian Alvarez. And also, since Atletico Madrid and Real Madrid are rivals, I don't think that Atletico will be willing to sell him, because they will make Real Madrid stronger. And then they sold Griezmann. Yeah. No, Griezmann left. They didn't sell Griezmann. Griezmann left after the end of his contract. So also selling Alvarez, it will weaken their attack and their team as well. But it's still early in the window. Let's see how things will turn up in the World Cup as well. So Julian Alvarez will be one to watch. Very talented player, has the winning mentality. Is capable of producing magic moments, which I believe Arsenal need when it comes to Champions League. If we want to win the Champions League, Arsenal have to find players with such a kind of talent, the likes of Alvarez, Julian Alvarez. So Argentina, do you think Argentina will go back to back, or which is your team to win the World Cup? Which team do you think will win the World Cup? Because I've heard many people saying France, Portugal, but Argentina is still a very dangerous team. People should not underestimate Argentina, with the likes of Messi, Julian Alvarez. They have a very good squad, Argentina, and as well they'll be looking to defend that trophy. So for me, Tonali, as I said, I would like him at Arsenal, but the price is too big. Manchester United also have shown interest. They are willing to pay 70 to 80 million pounds. So as I said, for me, I'm looking at Julian Tonali. I'm looking at Tonali going to Manchester United or Manchester City, because if Manchester City don't get Elliot Anderson, I believe they'll go for Tonali. If Manchester United, they've already signed Ederson from Atlanta, so that has already taken up their budget. 45 million has already gone to Atlanta. So if they spend another 80 million or 70 million on Tonali, that will be almost 100 million on two players. So you can see how the transfer market is crazy out here. So they'll be looking to replace Casemiro. But as I said, Tonali will be a very good signing for Arsenal. Yeah, it's very complete midfielder, very combative, very aggressive, physicality. Also, he has the physicality to play in the Premier League. And also, you can see that Anthony Gordon has already been sold to Barcelona. Yeah, what are you saying, bro? I pondered on which team I pick on looking at the teams with great midfielders, and I'll say Spain. Spain is a very good team. Spain is one of the favorites actually to win. Since they won the Euros, they have a very good squad. The likes of Raya, they have Rodri, the midfield, Pedri, Lamine Yamal, who for me, as I have said in previous streams, for me Lamine is one of the best players in the world. For me, he's the best player in the world. Yeah. So if you have Lamine, you have Zubimendi, you have Rodri, Merino, Dani Olmo. So Spain has stacked with a very good squad. Also England, I believe, will go far. England usually, their problem usually is finishing. They usually reach the semis, quarters, finals, but they don't win. Also, this game is very interesting. Brazil versus Morocco. I want to see Brazil under Ancelotti, how they will perform. Then we have Sweden versus Tunisia. Victor Gyökeres, who is took Victor Gyökeres, by the way, performed really well in the qualifiers. Is the reason why Sweden went to the World Cup. So, and if you look at that striking partnership, Sweden they have Isak, they have Gyökeres. So they are very blessed with strikers. Yeah, Sweden usually have very good strikers. Even in the past, they had Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Yeah, they are blessed with strikers. Japan also are a very good team. People usually sleep on Japan, but Japan, they know they are very good. When it comes to World Cup, Japan, you'll see them shocking big teams. Yeah. As well, Kai Havertz will be playing against Curacao. I believe is from the Pacific. Yeah. So Germany, their starting striker will be Havertz in that tournament. I believe so. Also looking at Portugal. Portugal have a very good midfield. So Spain will be starting with Cape Verde on Monday, 15th June. Trossard will be playing versus Egypt. We have Saudi Arabia versus Uruguay. Then on Tuesday, France will be playing Senegal. And also for me, Senegal, I believe, they are a very good team. Senegal, the AFCON champions. For me, I don't recognize Morocco as the champions. Senegal as the AFCON champions. They won it on the field, even though it was overturned by the CAF. I believe that Senegal won it because it went to extra time and they scored. So Senegal versus France will be a good game. We'll see whether they'll be able to shut down the likes of Mbappe, Dembele, Doué. That attack by France is very good. And also Argentina. Argentina will be facing Algeria. That's so Group C is looking like the group of death. Yeah. And also I believe we shall see players. Who will rise. Wonder Kids players will be coming from these tournaments. And that's why we need to sign players early, because the prices will be crazy after the World Cup. Then you have Portugal, Cristiano Ronaldo's Portugal versus Congo, DRC. And then England will start versus Croatia. So England, and also you had the news that Declan Rice has been named as the vice captain for England. So Rice has shown extreme leadership for Arsenal and also for England. So that was a very easy decision. If you look at Rice, he's just a leader. The way he performs on the field, the way he talks even in the interviews, in the press conferences, You can see that Rice is just a leader. So being the vice captain, Harry Kane the captain, that's a good decision by Tuchel as well. So also England have a very good squad. The likes of Bellingham, they have Gordon, they have Saka. I'm interested in how far England will go. But as I said, bro, Spain are looking good. Spain will actually go far in this tournament. I believe so, because they know how to play as a team. For me, when I look at the World Cup, it's not about the superstars. You can have all the superstars, but they don't have the chemistry. Yeah, these superstars, they may flop because they don't know how to play. There's that ego. There's too much ego in the team. Yeah, so especially I'm looking at France. I believe they'll be having issues in the attack because you are benching. Maybe you are benching someone like Due. You are benching someone like Chucky. You are starting Dembele and Mbappe in the same game. That is too much ego in the team. Yeah, so let's see how Argentina will perform. Then there is Mexico also versus Republic of Korea, South Africa, and also I'm interested to see how the African teams will perform in the World Cup. Then we have Scotland versus Morocco. That's a good game. Plenty of interesting fixtures. Germany versus Cote d'Ivoire. It's also a very good game. Netherlands versus Sweden. The only negative is that Timber will not be part of the Netherlands squad, but Gyökeres will be there. These fixtures will be interesting to see. And also, if you look at some of the teams, they're still playing friendlies. So some of the teams are actually finalizing their preparations for the World Cup. Saudi Arabia versus Senegal. Argentina will be facing Iceland. Yeah. So teams are warming up for the tournament. And I believe that this World Cup, although it has had many controversies, yeah, you can see the Somalian referee who was banned, yeah, from going by the USA, and he had a visa. So there'll be plenty of drama, of course. There'll be plenty of I hear the heat there is going to affect a lot of players. There's a lot of sun, and I don't think the stadiums they are playing in are sunproof. So heat is also going to be a factor. The teams which know how to play in hot conditions, they're going to have an advantage more than the teams that don't know how to play in extreme weather conditions. So that is usually what happens in football. There are teams which usually have an advantage before even the tournament starts. So as I said, the priority for Arsenal this summer will be a top left winger and also an attack. We need to just go all in and upgrade that attack. Yeah. If you look at the likes of Morgan Rogers from Aston Villa, yeah, Premier League proven, is versatile, is also young, and also he fits Arteta's profile. So maybe if I could ask you, would you take Morgan Rogers at Arsenal? And who are you willing to make way for Rogers? Who are we willing to sell in order to get Rogers? So what are you saying in the comments? The other player was Rodri Sanchez. He played in Qatar League. I believe he's a loan from Real Betis. Oh, okay, so you're saying that was the other player you are looking at. He's from the Qatar League. Okay. Yeah, so also as I asked you, are you willing to take Morgan Rogers at Arsenal, and how much are you willing to pay for Morgan Rogers? Because that's another player Arsenal looking at. So you're saying he's another creative player that plays on the right, looks for the capped back often. So he's called Rodri Sanchez. Okay, let's look at Rodri Sanchez highlights. Rodri Sanchez. I only know of Rodri from Man City. It seems, bro, you are a scout. Rodri Sanchez. He's on loan from Betis. Let's take some of these highlights. And it seems, bro, you like left footers. This is also a right left footer who can cut in, like Arjen Robben. The way Arjen Robben used to cut in and shoot. Nice. Yeah, we need such a skill set at Arsenal. Player who can cut in and just score. Because Noni Madueke, for me, he has not done enough. And also, I believe he can play on the left and also on the right. Yeah. So he's a left footer. Let's check some of his other highlights. Rodri Sanchez. He's a number 10. So this is the Qatar League, but the Qatar League is not a very strong league. How do you see him coping in the Premier League with the intensity, the physicality, the lack of space? Because Premier League is very physical. He'll need some time to adapt to the Premier League because the Premier League, that's not him. He plays for Al Arabi. Okay, that's not the player. Okay, let me check Rodri Sanchez. Al Arabi. The Qatar League. I've never even watched Qatar League. I think it's bringing the same player. Al Arabi. These guys usually don't like football that much. See the one. He is loaned by Betis. Okay. So Betis are the one who have loaned him to Al Arabi. So would you start him over Saka or Madueke? And also there are rumors that Arsenal will go for another Chelsea player and Marcus Rashford. Yeah. I want to be surprised if Arsenal go in for Marcus Rashford. Arteta likes to save players who are not doing well. Physically, I think that's what Zubimendi may have struggled with because there's many games in the Prem that his form may have dipped. Yeah, so as I said, Zubimendi is a very good player, but he has not adapted yet to the intensity of the Premier League and the physicality. But Zubimendi, very good technical player. And also what I like about Zubimendi is availability. He doesn't miss a lot of games. And I saw a stat that he has played every single game for Arsenal, whether as a sub or whether starting. So I believe Zubimendi, the next season is when we will see the best of Zubimendi, because usually in your first season in the Premier League, if you are coming from another league, it's usually very difficult to adapt. Yeah. So for me, I still rate Zubimendi. I believe he has scored important goals, like the goal versus Sunderland. He scored versus Leeds. Yeah. Apart from the mistakes which he made against Manchester United, I don't think Zubimendi is a very bad player. I just think that he played too many games. Yeah, so the fatigue was there. And also, if you look at Real Sociedad, they were not competing in playing many games. But at Arsenal, he had to play each and every single game because of the injuries to Merino. Nogard, Arteta did not fully trust Nogard to start. Yeah. So if you can get another midfielder to supplement, maybe Zubamendi, so that so that Nogard can leave, because Arteta does not trust Nogard in that number 6. So what are you saying? He'd start over Madueke in this team definitely. He has end product. Yeah. So how many goals and assists has he scored so far? Rodri Sanchez. Zubimendi is still one of the better players in the squad. I'm not one of the ones saying he needs to be moved on, but I didn't have expectations of him replacing Partey neither. Yeah, so as you all know, Thomas Partey is better than Zubamendi, but now the issue with Thomas Partey, he did not want to renew his contract with Arsenal, and also there was that case. He had a court case that was ongoing, so I believe Arsenal had to release him because of the legal matters behind the scenes, which could have damaged Arsenal's image. Yeah, so they want players who don't have any scandals or court cases. But Zubimendi, his availability is also a good skill. He has been reliable in some games, especially in the first half of the season. Zubimendi was very reliable because he played every single game as well. So I also want us to check. Okay, listen, we haven't replaced Partey nor Xhaka's quality in midfield. Yeah, now you see, I was actually saying we should have kept Xhaka to partner with Declan Rice in midfield, because now we sold Xhaka, then we went and bought Jorginho from Chelsea, and Jorginho was not the player that he was used to be. Jorginho's pace was gone. Remember, Jorginho finished third in the Ballon d'Or when Chelsea won the Champions League. So Jorginho was a good player, but now age caught up with him, and he could not run, because in the Premier League you need to run, you need to cover a lot of ground. So Jorginho was not able to replace Thomas Partey or Xhaka. So I agree with that point. We need also to find a replacement for Xhaka in that number 8. And we have seen we have struggled a lot in that number 8 role since Xhaka left. So people are saying play Lewis Kelly there, try Max Dauman there. Havertz was tried, but it didn't work. So same Stelkers and Sanchez similarly in a way of being creative, not flashy dribble players. Yeah, and I believe those two players which you have mentioned, they won't even cost more than £10 million. If Arsenal are looking to buy these gems, the likes of Monga, Rodri Sanchez, Stukers, so Arsenal, if they want to save money, but I don't think Arsenal now have a lot of money, they'll go for the big hitters. Yeah, I thought we would have gotten one last season out of Xhaka in that final third. I feel he was better in that advanced role than we have seen from Rice. That's absolutely true. And even when Wenger signed Xhaka, Xhaka was not signed as a 6. He was signed as an 8. But now Arsene Wenger was playing him in the 6 role. That's why he was struggling a lot for form. So when Arteta came in, he realized that Xhaka is an 8, left 8. And when Xhaka was playing, even you could see Martinelli was shining. Yeah, there was a lot of fluidity in that team. Yeah, there was a lot of fluidity in that team when Xhaka was playing in the left 8. Yeah, because he could advance in that role. So I fully agree with you. And would you take Morgan Rogers Now from Aston Villa, would you take Morgan Rogers from Aston Villa? Because I think that is the priority signing for Arsenal. Morgan Rogers to Arsenal. I believe that is the priority now that Arsenal are looking up. Also, Junior Krupi from Bournemouth is another player, and then Morgan Gibbs White. Morgan Gibbs White as well from Forest. But now the problem with this Arsenal player, English players, you have to break the bank for such kind of players. They're not going to be cheap. English players usually are not cheap. The likes of Gibbs White, Elliot Anderson, you can see they're all costing upwards of 80 to 100 million pounds. So definitely Arsenal will have to spend big money to recruit such players. He could also play a long pass, which we lack in midfield when needing to go direct, being we don't have the best of ball carriers who are press resistant and can carry. I guess that's what Arteta wants. Yes, Arteta wants a ball carrier in midfield, somebody who will have quality to drive into the final third, and also somebody who is press resistant. MLS is still young. He has the capability, but still very young. So let's look some of the highlights by Morgan Rogers. He's also a winner. He has won the Europa League with Villa. Yeah. So this is going to be a saga that will continue for the rest of the summer. Yeah. But I would fully take Morgan Rogers. This is a player that immediately elevates our attack. So me personally, I don't see Rogers being an upgrade on Trossard. Why break the bank? Okay, so for me, I would break the bank if he is coming to play as the 10, as the replacement for Odegaard. Because for now, with Odegaard, with the fitness issues, with the lack of game time, I believe that Odegaard's time at Arsenal is up. Yes, he's the captain. Yes, he's the leader. But now we have to move on from the likes of Odegaard. Yeah, you have to now start looking at other options in the attacking 10. So Morgan Rogers is not coming to replace Trossard. He's coming to play in the 10. Yeah. So Krupi, one for the future, still yet to determine, give him time. Wouldn't break the bank, decent though. Yeah, I agree with you. For now, Junior Krupi is still not 100 million pounds player. So that seems like Bournemouth don't want to sell. Yeah, Bournemouth are not willing to sell Krupi for cheap. And also they want a bidding war since Man United, City, Liverpool also with Iraola, they want to go for Krupi because Iraola knows him, he has worked with him as well. I'll be honest, the many players I didn't want Arsenal signed. Yeah, we have a habit of signing every player we have signed, apart from Eze, has been okay. You didn't want Eze, but majority of the fans, they were fully on board with Eze. Yeah, but if you look even at Raya, there was a division. People did not want Raya to replace Ramsdale. You see, people did not want Merino. People did not want Calafiori. So most of the signings, Raheem Sterling. So most of the signings that Arsenal have done have not impressed the fans. But usually they come and they turn it around, like Merino. Merino really stepped up in the Champions League and also last season playing as a striker. Yeah. I see Rogers as the same way I see Eze. For me, I believe, okay, I rate Eze, but I believe Morgan Rogers is better than Eze. Morgan Rogers can do a lot in midfield. Yeah, his ball carrying availability, scoring, his numbers, and also he's a very young player. Because if you look at Eze now, he's approaching 30 years. Yeah, Eze is not going to be one for the future. Eze will have 2-3 good seasons, and then I believe he'll be shipped off. So Morgan Rogers is one for the future because he's still 24, entering his prime years. Yeah. Prem English players come with an automatic premium. Absolutely correct. Any player from England will be double the price. Yeah. Any player from England, Elliot Anderson, Adam Wharton. You heard about Adam Wharton is being sold for £100 million. Yeah. From Crystal Palace. And he's a guy who only has one goal in the league. But his price is £100 million. Yeah. So yet to see how the teams will spend this summer. I rate Adam Wharton, but I believe it's too expensive. £100 million is still a lot of money for Adam Wharton. But I believe clubs will be willing to sell if we break the bank. Eze has decent games, but over the season he was inconsistent, even late. Yeah. And the truth is, Eze, the way we play football, the way Mikel Arteta plays, does not suit. It doesn't suit Eze because Eze is a player who likes to have freedom, and he wants the ball. He wants the ball all the time. But now with how Arsenal play, Eze is struggling a bit. But I believe it was his first season. He had some magic moments. In remember versus Bayern Leverkusen, scored a very good goal in the Champions League. But in the final versus PSG, he was anonymous. So that inconsistency is what Eze has. So we want to see games Eze taking control of games. He was also unlucky versus Man City, hitting the post. Yeah. So Eze, I believe, will come good, but he's not player for the long term. He'll have 2-3 seasons at Arsenal, then he will leave. Yeah. I heard of Wharton, another for the future. Yeah, these are young player prospects, yes. So I believe Arteta wants to have a mix of experience and also young players so that we don't look like Chelsea. Chelsea only have young players, so there's no experience in the team. That's why we are looking at the likes of Monga. Yeah, we are looking at the likes of the Quintero twins. So they are building for the future. But for me, let me look at those talks of Adagula from Real Madrid, very good player. Adagula is also one for the future. I want to see how he'll perform in the World Cup. Very good dribbler. Is a player that I would take. This is now a player who can break the bank for. Yeah. Because of the skill set, because of the talent. Yeah. He reminds me of Mesut Ozil. Remember Ozil? Yeah, Adagula looks, his technique is how he plays. but he's more quick. He's faster than Ozil. So I believe in this World Cup we are going to see plenty of young players and also prospects for the future, players who are coming to improve for the long term. Because I believe the plan for Arteta now is to go and dominate the Premier League. Since Pep has left, he'll be looking at that. He'll be looking at that league and seeing the likes of Carrick, the likes of. They're still very good managers, but in order to win the Premier League, you need more. You need a squad. You need to have luck on your side. Winning the Premier League is the most difficult thing any coach can achieve. There is a kid from Denmark who had a great season GA+. I wouldn't be able to say or not if I'd sign him straight away. Yeah, you know, these kids, they need time also. If you are signing kids, you don't sign them and they come to start. You usually give them time to develop. Yeah, so they need to develop. They need to play more games as well, so that in future they can come and help the team as well. Yeah. So these games are usually for the future. They're not really to rely on them, because now if you look at the state where Arsenal are, they need to add more quality, more experience in the team. Yeah, and also winners, players who will now deliver that Champions League. So as I was saying, Arteta is looking at the league and he's seeing he has a chance of dominating at least 2 more Premier Leagues in the next 5 years. If he can add a Champions League, if he can add 2 FA Cups maybe. So we'll see, because now Pep has left. Pep was the one who was keeping Arsenal from winning trophies. So it will be interesting to see how the league will be, because there are so many young managers. Iraola, Liverpool, Maresca at City. You have Xabi Alonso at Chelsea. You have De Zerbi at Spurs. So very young managers, and I believe clubs are looking at giving these managers plenty of time to build, because Arteta was given a lot of time and a lot of resources. Aral Simisri had 9 goals and 15 assists, but I'm not sure on him. Yeah, so these are players that need time, as I said, to develop, to become superstars as well. Yeah. But Steukas is definitely one of the best creative players who can play a killer pass. Yeah, so I'll be keeping an eye on the Stukas, and I don't think Arsenal still have an interest in him, but they can look at him maybe in the near future. Yeah, and also you're saying we lack creators in the team. Okay, I don't think so, because the system. The problem I have with Arteta is the system. It is too pragmatic. So the attacking players don't have the freedom to do what they do best, because the whole system is based on defending and actually being solid. And you can see even our creative players, they are defending. The likes of Saka, Odegaard, they are all doing the defensive work, because the team, the whole setup of the team has been created to defend and to be very hard to beat, be very solid. So that will cause some of the players to look like they are not good. But I believe we have very good players. We have Eze, we have Odegaard, we have Saka, we have Trout. These are very good players, by the way. But now the system which we play does not allow them to express themselves. Yeah. So that is something we need to look at next season. Arteta should now come up with another solution and another brand of football, because this brand of football is very pragmatic. Yeah. Like the way we played in the Champions League final, it was very defensive. Yeah, and you cannot shut down a team like PSG for 90 minutes. We needed to attack them at some point, but we didn't, and we didn't take our chances. So next season, I want to see improvements in the attacking areas. Gyökeres managed 21 goals, which is a very good return. But now we need to see the more. We need to see Saka getting 15 goals, Eze 15 goals, Trossard and Martinelli can come at 10 goals each. But now the system for me is an issue. Arteta needs to change that system, give players the freedom to go. Yeah, so you're seeing ball carriers, range passes, a lot of creativity missing. Okay, people kept talking about the brand of football Arteta plays, but the quality isn't there. Okay, I believe the quality is there, but we need to improve definitely in the attacking areas. But also Arteta has to adapt to the players that he has, so that we can see Eze with the freedom. Give Eze the free roll. Give Declan Rice box to box. Yeah. Tell Saka to stay forward. No need for Saka to come and defend. Yeah, sometimes you can see Saka is playing as a right back. There's no need for that. Yeah, we were defending in the seasons before, though. Yes, now we need to find a balance between defending and attacking. I don't want the situation whereby we score one goal and then we are defending for 90 minutes. That one goal, it is very difficult, and also it's very tiring. We need to play like the way we played versus Fulham. Score 3 goals in the first half, finish the game off, and now second half, control the game. The only thing that changed was actually the fullbacks. Our fullbacks don't create. You see, the reason why they don't create is because they are being played. These are not proper fullbacks. These are centre backs who are playing as fullbacks. Yeah, they are not the fullbacks. They are like Ben White. Ben White is a right back. He's a centre back. So Arteta has pushed him to the fullback role. So it looks so defensive. Ben White was the starting fullback before Timber came in. He was actually getting assists, but White isn't better than Timber defensively. True. And also the fact that both White and Timber, they are not fullbacks, they are centre backs. It's just that Arteta wants to play with inverted fullbacks. That's why he's playing with the centre backs as fullbacks. But if we get a proper fullback, like a Fresneda, like a Livramento from Newcastle, you can actually see our play becoming better. Because if you look at PSG, one of the reasons why they are so dangerous in attack, PSG, is because they have fullbacks who can attack and defend at the same time. Now at Arsenal, you don't have such player like Nuno Mendes. Sometimes he even plays as a striker, left winger. So somebody who can run up and down the touchline. Yeah. I'd still take Timber over White, definitely. Timber is better than Ben White defensively, leadership, also availability. Ben White, I believe, also is likely to leave Arsenal. But I know Timber isn't going to be Trent Alexander-Arnold or Marcelo in the final third. Yeah, no, that's another level. We're talking about Marcelo. Marcelo was just another level of player, fullback. That's a complete fullback who can score, who can create, who can, he has the skills, can dribble. Yeah. So, and the same with the left back. Yeah, Hincapie as well is not a left back. Yeah, Hincapie used to play in a back three as the left center back at Leverkusen. Yeah. So Arteta usually buys center backs and then he plays them as full backs. in order to create that stability. That's why you see our defense has been very good, because it is full of center backs. Yeah. Yeah. So that's it. Livramento is alright. I wouldn't break the bank for him though. Livramento, very good player, but now I believe the injury situation, his fitness may be a red flag for the people who are looking at that possibility of signing Livramento. It might be a red flag because of his injuries, and it's also very his fitness issues might become a problem for Arsenal. Remember with Tomiyasu, when we signed Tomiyasu, he was a very promising player, was very good defensively. But now Tomiyasu, due to the injuries, he was not able to have a career at Arsenal, a proper career. Yeah. So we'll see how it goes with the Livramento, but he definitely is a quality player. And also Newcastle will not let him go on a cheap. Yeah. Newcastle also need the money. You can see even due to the injuries, the board decided to sack the head of medical at Arsenal. So now these injuries have costed Arsenal a lot of players, too many ACLs, too many surgeries. You can see here that Saliba is also going to have surgery after the World Cup. So meaning Saliba will miss the first part of the season, the back injury that he has been struggling with. So you can see Newcastle are looking at up to £58 million. That's a lot of money for a fullback. Yeah, and especially if he's injury prone. Yeah, Livramento is going to be very expensive, and also it's a huge gamble due to his fitness, due to his issues with injuries. I don't think Arsenal are looking at him. Yeah, so bro, it has been an hour and 30 minutes. Big up yourself in the chat. I shall be doing another review. Today is on Tuesday. Thursday, Friday, I'll be doing another stream. So make sure to tune in to the Arsenal Pulse as we look at potential signings. We shall be looking at Monga, Morgan Rogers, Krupi, Tonali. So we shall see how the window goes before the World Cup. There's no players at take immediately over the current back four we have. True, bro. So the only thing we need to do is improve on the attack and also the midfield as well. Let's get some reinforcements in midfield, and also let us improve our attack. So see you in the next one. Big up yourself in the chat. Shall have another stream later this week to follow up on Arsenal players at the World Cup and some of the potential names that are being floated around. So shall see you in the next one.